Well, hello, Internet, and welcome to part 5 of my Python Data Science Technical Analysis video course. And what I'm going to do in this video is I thought, I've made so many videos about using Python for investing and for technical analysis. Sometimes it can become confusing. So what I wanted to do is actually cover a lot of things from the beginning. So if you were starting off and you just wanted to go download stocks and start analyzing all of them, I'm going to be using the Wilshire 5000, and you can see all of the stocks that I downloaded. There's thousands of them. All right, so that's all of the stocks we're going to be downloading, and we're going to be downloading them over a 5-year period. And of course, this file right here that is heavily commented is going to be available at GitHub for free, so you can download it. It's in the description. All right, so what do we have here? Basically all the libraries that you are going to need, and here's some information on how to install them. Very easy process here. So you're basically just going to open up Anaconda right like this, and then you're going to jump in, and we're going to specifically, if you're on Windows, go to the PowerShell prompt, and if you are on Mac, you're going to use the Qt console. You can use either though on Windows, doesn't matter, and you just open it up. And basically what you're going to be doing here is, for example, typing in pip install pandas and so forth. All right. And that is going to install all of these libraries that you need here. But like I said, you can go and download all of them. All right. So now it comes into the specifics. All right. So we're going to be downloading thousands of stocks. So what you're going to have to do is define a location for where you want to store those stocks. Another thing you're probably going to want to do is you are going to want to set a start date. So I'm going to be analyzing stocks on a 5-year period. So I'm going to say that I want to have my start date start 2016-12-12, like that. All right, and I'm also going to have an ending date, and it is going to be 2021, 12, and 10. So I have a start date and an end date. Then you'll easily be able to refer to them, and I always make them uppercase letters so that I can tell they are constants. Another thing you're going to want to do is have a date time. So I'm going to have a start date that is going to be in date time format. And to do that, you can just come in here like this and say date time and pass in your start date. So that's going to make it very easy for you to go in and change all of these. And we're going to have a duplicate of that as well. So we're also going to have an end date like this, and then just make this end date like that. And of course, you're going to always want to hit Shift and Enter to have everything execute for you here, and also show if you have any types of errors. All right, so now that we have that set up, now Yahoo Finance is which I'm using here to download all this stuff. Here it is right here. This is the import. Used to be problematic when it came to downloading stocks, and you used to have to go and make sure that all the stocks were downloaded. You don't really need to do that anymore, but who knows, things might change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a list created, and this list is going to be populated with all the stock information we tried to download, but we couldn't get it. I'm also going to say that I want to have another list, and what I'm going to do with this is whenever stocks not downloaded is populated, I'm going to copy that and paste it into the missing stock list. And then after I try to download all of them, as a last effort, I can go and try to download all those stocks in mass that were not downloaded. But like I said, Yahoo Finance is considerably better now, so you probably won't have that issue. Now, what do I want to do here now? Well, I want to create a function that's going to return a stock data frame from a comma-separated value file. And I'm going to call this get stock data frame from CSV. And a data frame is basically, if you've never even heard of a data frame, basically what it is it's a spreadsheet of data. And that's it. It's basically a spreadsheet of data, just to really make it very simplistic. And it is in a file format that we will use a tool called pandas to go and work and manipulate that file and all that data. Now, anytime we are trying to get any type of information from a file, chances are you might ask for it and it might not exist. So we want to put that inside of a try block, and that is going to catch errors and allow us, instead of our program just crashing and messing up all over the place, what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to define what is going to be displayed. Now, this function here reads the CSV file and turns it into a data frame, exactly like that. We're going to use the path. The path is going to be the folder where you store all your stocks. So we're going to be working with that. And let's just move this up here so you can see it a little bit better. And then ticker is going to be the stock ticker. And then I'm going to say dot and, well, actually, quote dot CSV like that. And then I want to convert the first column to which is going to contain all of my dates for my stock data. I want that to be my index. And that's the first one is known as the 0 one. Okay, so if I'm trying to download or work with data from a file, the error that I'm probably going to get is file not found error. So that's going to catch that error if it occurs. And then what I want to do is I want to come in here and say file doesn't exist. Exactly like that. So that's going to output instead of the whole entire thing crashing and doing bad things. And then this function returns a data frame. All right, so there's all that. File not found error. What do you not like about that? Oh, I see. I accidentally put an extra colon inside of there. So I got rid of that. And then shift and return, and here we are. All right, so another thing I'm going to want to do is return a specific column worth of data from a CSV file. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to create a nice function to do it. So I'm going to call this get column from CSV, and this is going to be passed the file that I want to get the data from, and it's also going to have the column name that I want data of. All right, so again, we are working with CSV files. So what I want to do here is go and store this into a data frame. I'm going to put this inside of a try block to catch any errors that we might get. And there is the file that I want to read the data from and turn it into what is essentially a spreadsheet we can do awesome things with. And file not found error again. So there is the same error that we had before. And guess what? We're just going to copy all of this stuff right here. And we are going to paste it right there. And we're just going to change this to data frame and column name. Then it will only return the column name information from that CSV file. Won't return anything that we don't want. That's going to be very, very useful whenever we want to be able to grab just pieces of information from multiple different files and combine them into one file. Now what I'd like to do is I'm going to get all of the stock tickers that I have stored, and I have those all stored in a special file. I'll also include that at GitHub. Again, all 100% free. So if I just come in here and I have this in Python for Finance, and then I have Wilshire 500 stocks right here, and this is the file that we are going to be grabbing all the different company names from and getting their tickers and all that stuff. Like I said, it will also be at GitHub. So if I want to get all of those names out of that CSV file and save it to tickers, I'm going to say get column from CSV like this. And then I'm going to put in the file's name. And that's specific to me, of course. Yours is more than likely going to definitely be different. And I am also going to pass ticker inside of here because that is the column name that I want to get. If you want to see that again, and you can see all of them right here, and you can also see that the ticker is right here, and it's sort of messed that file up but it's supposed to be ticker is just supposed to be the ticker, and the file name is there. I could fix that, but I really just don't want to fix it right this second because it's not that important. All right, so we're getting all the different ticker symbols from the Excel or comma separated value list, and you can see here is a listing. So we got 3,480 different stocks that we're going to be working with. And if you want to find out how many stocks we actually have, it is going to come back as 3481. So let's just go print like this and length like this and close that off. So there we go, 3,481. All right, so now what we need is a function that's going to save stock data to a CSV file. So I'm going to call this save to CSV from Yahoo, because Yahoo is the service I'm using. It's 100% free also, because Yahoo's pretty awesome about that stuff. So ticker, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say stock and equal to, and Yahoo Finance dot ticker, and pass in our ticker here. Then what I'm going to do is, again, anytime you're doing any type of file data or downloading from the internet, you want to put that in a try block to catch any errors. And I'm going to say, I'm going to output onto the screen so that you can constantly be updated and see that something is going on with your computer while this information is downloaded, because it can take some time to download. So we're going to just output on the screen, get data from, and whatever the stock symbol is, and then we can come in here, whoops, like this, and stock and history, and I specifically want 5 years worth of data for said stock. And another thing that's helpful to do is to put a extremely short sleep period inside of here. I'm going to put 2 seconds, and I have found that the quality of your data is better. The chance that you will miss some data also decreases. So just put a slight pause inside of there between downloading every individual stock. So I'm going to say if it's empty, I am going to go stocks not downloaded like this, and spell that right, loaded like that, and I'm going to append that ticker to it, and then I'll have the list of all the stocks that were not downloaded. Okay, so what do we want to do now? Well, another thing I need to do is I'd like to remove the period for saving our file names. So I'm going to call this the file is equal to folder, which is where I'm saving this, and ticker dot replace, and I want to replace any dots with underscores like that. And then I will follow that up with boom and CSV, and that is the file that we'll be saving to. And I could do something like saying the file and saved like this. So you can also see additional information about what's going on, what files are succeeding in being saved and which are not succeeding. Then just go to CSV to save the data to our file. So to CSV, and I keep hitting the wrong parenthesis, and then I messed that up. To CSV like this, and the file exactly like that. Okay, try block. That means we have to catch any errors. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a catch-all error here, exception as. That will catch every potential exception. And I'm going to say stocks not, whoops, get rid of that, not downloaded, and append the ticker like this, and then I'm going to just print out a error here, and that's going to be, in this situation, couldn't get data for, and then you'll be able to see on your screen very easily which tickers were not downloaded. And there's all that. Okay, and that's all we need to do for that function. So now that we have all those set up, what we can do is I am going to test it just to see that it works. And I'm going to do that by getting 5 years of data for the first 20 stocks. How you do that? I'm going to create a folder, and this is going to be the same as this folder right here. So let's just come in, and actually it's not going to be that one. I'm going to use this one right here. So we're going to get the Wilshire stocks, or I could just type in path if I wanted to do that. And why don't we just do that? We'll type it in path. That way, if things change, well, then we will be prepared for the changes. Then I'm going to say for X in range, and I'm going to download the first 20. And this is just a test to see if everything worked or not. So CSV from Yahoo, like that. And then I am going to say pass in the folder. And I am going to be cycling through all of our ticker symbols, which are in that list. Put X inside of here and go like this. And then after I finish it, I can type in print and finished. And then I'll know that I downloaded all 20 of those stocks right there. I could go and do it right now. Why don't I do it right now? So if I run it, and you can see get data for A, and it's going to download and save all of that file information inside of there. So all very, very useful, and it's going to continue doing that forever. All right, so what do I want to do now? Well, after I finish this, I could come in and I could say stocks not downloaded, because this is going to be a list that's going to be populated, and output that. While I wait on this finishing, I could then come in and let's just get, well, if you want to get the next 80 stocks, why not? I'm here. I'll show you how to do it. X in range, and we can download stock 20 through 100, right like that. And then again, save to CSV from Yahoo and pass in the folder where I want to save it and these individual tickers. So there's that, and there we go. And then again, print like this. I'm not going to run this one though, so you'll see enough just from doing this before. And then of course you could do stocks not downloaded, and it is going to output all of those. Stocks not downloaded is not defined. I probably just forgot to hit the enter key up here. So stocks not downloaded, there like that. And let's just copy this just to verify 100% that that indeed is taken care of. So what did it say? Stocks not downloaded, not defined. That is, where is that? Stocks not downloaded is not defined is going to be where? Right here. Stocks not downloaded. So what do I do? Spell it wrong. Accept exception as EX. Stocks not downloaded. I may have spelled it incorrectly. Let's go in here, paste that right there, and everything should be fine after that. And then you can see that we went and we downloaded all those different stocks that we had right there. And normally what we would do is then go stocks not downloaded and see which ones were missed. But we're not going to worry. Now, in regards to getting all the rest of the stocks, guess what? You're basically going to do exactly the same thing. Now, I think it's very easy to just go, or very reliable, I guess I should say, to come in and download 500 stocks at a time. So what I would do as a next step is say 101 like that, and then 500 like that, download that block. Then you're going to change this to 501, and you can jump it up to 1000. And just keep running that over and over again to get all of your other different stocks. I'm going to comment this out so I don't accidentally go and run it, because I do not need all of those stocks again. So go like this and get this and get rid of that. All right. So that's the whole process of downloading stocks. So what do we want to do now? Well, another thing that might be useful is to delete any empty files that you have. So to do that, I can just say try, and then I'm going to say for X in missing stocks, because we are only asking for the stocks that have 5 years worth of data. So if they don't have 5 years worth of data, they're going to come back as, garbage. So we want to get rid of them. So what we want to do is we want to come in here and go path, or you can say whatever the name of, your folder is, x plus like this, and then .csv. And that is going to help you get rid of all those different files. That's what OS remove does, deletes files. And then you can say except, whoops, let's go back here, except like that, and file not found is probably going to be the error that you have. And in that situation, what we can do is we can say print and couldn't find and whatever the name of the file is. See, the reason we do this is so that whenever the file can't be found, instead of the whole entire program crashing, what it's going to do instead is try to go and delete the next file. All right, so there we are, and finished. And that's what we can run there. All right, so the question that we want to ask or answer is whether FANG stocks are worth investing in. And by FANG stocks, I mean Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through these different stocks and start analyzing them. So I'm going to say Facebook like this, and I'm going to type in all of these individual stocks like that, and Netflix, and Google. All right, Google. All right, so we have all our stocks. And what I'm going to do here is you could, of course, come in. If you wanted to work with just a couple securities, you could, of course, come in to these individual stocks and then go save to Yahoo. And then inside of here, path like that, and I in this situation. And you could download 100% up-to-date data right like that if you would want to do that. Or you could just use the data that you already have, whatever you would like to do. And let's just go plus like that and I. All right, so there we go. We have all that. All right, so what do we do now? Well, what I want to do is plot out all of this data. So how do we do this? Let's go, whoops, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so go figure, and we're going to use a program called Plotly to output all this. And you say figure equal to, go figure, like that. And if you're wondering why I'm messing up, it's because I have a new keyboard I'm trying to get used to. All right, so I'm going to go get stock data frame from CSV, like that. And I'm going to get Facebook. And you could come in here and go Facebook underscore data frame and head like this. And what's it saying? Name Facebook's not defined. Oh, I accidentally hit the wrong key. There we are. And you can see there is the first 5 entries for the Facebook stock. So that's all working beautifully. Well, what we want to do is we want to do this for every single stock. So I'm going to go, or the FANG stocks anyway. So I'm going to paste this inside of here. And I'm going to do the same for Amazon, like this. And then just throw Amazon's ticker inside of here like that. And I'm also going to do the same for Apple. So AAPL, and throw in the next one. This is going to be Netflix. So NFLX and NFLX, NFLX, and the last one is going to be Google. And I refuse to call it Alphabet because I think that's the most ridiculous name I've ever heard of. Okay, so there we are. And I'm never going to call this Meta. All right, so there we go. We got all of those securities right there, the data frames from the CSV files. And what we want to do now is plot them onto the screen. I'm going to call this Facebook plot is equal to, and go and scatter. This is going to be a line, but it's called a scatter. I don't know, because that's the way Plotly works. And I'm going to go Facebook underscore data frame, and the index is going to be the date. So that's going to be the x-axis, and the y-axis is going to be the closing price for the day. So there's that, and close like that, and name is equal to, and Facebook. So there is all of that. And now we're going to copy this, and we're going to do the same lines for all the other different securities. So again, we're going to say Amazon like that, and change this to Amazon, and you'll see this plot here very, very soon. So Amazon, and go to the next line, and this is going to be Apple. Whoops, Apple, like that. And whoops, did I miss this one? Yes, I did. Amazon and Amazon, and that actually wouldn't matter because the dates are exactly the same for all of them, but whatever, you don't want to make that mistake. And then we're going to do Apple, oops, equal to, and get rid of that, AAPL, like that, and change this to Apple. And then on to the next one. This is going to be Netflix, so NFLX, NFLX, and NFLX, 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 NFLX. And as you're watching this, I hope you can sort of understand how this whole process is done and understand everything about it and be able to watch this and then go, maybe refer to the cheat sheet and go and do it all yourself. And everybody will say, wow, you're really smart. All right, so go and do the same for Google, like that, and change this to Google. And we'll be analyzing using technical analysis to see if these stocks are investable. All right, so after I get all of that done, what I want to do is I want to actually plot these, which means add them to the figure that's going to be displayed onto the screen. To do that, again, very easy. So I'll go add and trace and Facebook and plot, and then I'm going to do the same thing for Amazon and all the other ones. So let's go like this and just change this to Amazon, Amazon, and Apple, so AAPL, AAPL, and the next one is going to be Netflix and FLX, and the last one is going to be Google. There we are. Got all those. All right, so we added all those, and now what we want to do is just style our graph a little bit so that we can see it and it provides information on what exactly we're looking for. First thing I want to do is I want to update the x-axis, and I want a title to be displayed, and the title is going to be date. I think it's kind of obvious, but whatever, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to say that I want a range slider displayed, and what that's going to allow us to do is zoom in on specific dates automatically. It's some awesome thing that Plotly does, and we're going to set that to true. Then I'm going to also go in and update the y-axis. So update y-axis like that, and I'm going to set the title to be price like that. And another thing I want to do is I want to come in and I want to update the size of what I'm displaying on the screen. So I'm going to say height is equal to 1200 pixels, and the width is going to be equal to 1800 pixels. And then after that, I want to also show a legend with all the keys and all that stuff so that we'll see what color matches up to which stock. And then after you do that, you can say figure and show, and if I didn't make an error, it will display it. And there you can see it did, and it's pretty awesome. Okay, so here we go. This is going to be Amazon, and this is Google, and this guy down here is Netflix, and so forth. Well, the one problem with this data, however, is it's not very useful for our purposes. And the reason why is because the scales are going to be different. And to solve this problem, what we need to do is to calculate daily returns and cumulative returns and all that. Then we'll be able to look at these stocks all as if, let's say you bought a partial share of all of these stocks, $1 worth. What would your dollar be worth at the end of 5 years? And that's what we're going to calculate next by figuring out daily return. So what do we want to do here? Well, as you can see, here's information on daily returns. And as it says, for single stocks, to find the daily return, what we do is subtract the opening price from the closing price. Okay, and then you're going to multiply by the number of shares owned. All right, so I think that's kind of obvious. And then I have additional information in sort of code. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to create a function that goes and adds the daily return every day to our data frame. And I'm going to call this add daily return to data frame, like that. And what's going to be passed inside a data frame and a ticker. So throw that right there. And I'm going to say data frame and create a new column. And it's going to be called daily return. And what I like to do is whenever I'm adding new data to data that I've accumulated from elsewhere, so this is going to be my data, I like to name that column with underscores in the name. It's something I like to do. It's not something you have to do. It's just something. Then I can instantly look at it and be like, oh, I added that. That's why it's wrong. All right, so I'm going to go and do close and divided by data frame and close like this. And then what shift is going to do is it's going to just shift forward and grab the next day's worth of data. And then after this, I can go -1. So it's saying, okay, grab today's data, or this ending price that you have right here, and then jump one day into the future, and that is going to be that beginning price. All right? So we got all of that. Now we want to also save this to a CSV file, so I'm going to go df.toCSV and just pass inside of it path plus whatever the ticker is plus and dot like this dot CSV. There we are. And then this can also return that data frame. Okay, so we got all that set up. And now what we can do is we can go and actually add that information to our my information. All right. So I'm going to go add daily return to data frame, and I'm going to pass inside of it the Facebook data frame followed by the Facebook name. And then I'm going to do this for all of the other different securities. So pass that into all of them. So we'll also do Amazon, and we'll also do Apple, APL, and we will do Netflix and NFLX, and we will do Google. So there is all of those securities all inside of there, and it will update and add that daily return. And I'm going to say Google _ data frame dot head like this, and let's just run it. Boom. And now you can see here is our daily return. And you can also see cumulative return is in there. I'm going to calculate that next. All right, so how do we calculate the cumulative return? Well, I'm going to create a function, of course, because that's the best way to do it, because then you can reuse it easily. So I'm going to say add cumulative return to the data frame and pass in data frame and ticker, exactly like that. And data frame, and to create a new column, again I'm going to use underscores for my stuff that I added, and equal to, and we'll say 1 plus data frame. And to get that cumulative return, you go and get the daily return right like this, and then you just call cumulative product on it. So cumulative product like that, and then we're going to save this to our CSV file. So CSV and pass in path and plus ticker plus dot CSV, exactly like that. And then we could also come in and return our data frame. Okay, there we got all that set. Now what we're going to be able to do is go and call that function. So add, and I want this one, cumulative return to data frame, and you're just going to pass in Facebook _ df and Facebook right like this, and just call it multiple times. So 5 of these guys is what we need. Pass that inside of there, and we'll change this to Amazon. So Amazon, and change this to Amazon, and then change this to Apple. There we go. And Apple again. And what can we do for the next one? Well, we can do Netflix. So Netflix and Netflix. Just make sure you don't put the name in here by accident. And you want the ticker, not the name. All right, and Google. So Google and Google, like this. Google. All right, so there we go. And whoops, there was an error. So what does it not like? Something with daily return. Okay, so cumulative return, and just make sure that it is called daily return in our data that we have here. So I have Wilshire stocks, and let's go and Facebook, and just make sure I didn't make some type of silly error. Well, I could do Apple, AAPL, AAPL, where are you? AAPL right there, and it's going to open up. And I have daily return right there. It looks fine to me, and cumulative return, and it calculated it. Really weird. All right, so maybe it's an error that only occurs with a couple of these. Let's take a look. I see what I did. I forgot to put Amazon inside of here and all these other stocks. So let's do Amazon like this, AVPL, and Netflix like that, and Google like that. And then make sure that you have everything, all the things where you're downloading stocks, all commented out like I did before. And then we're going to hit run all. And hopefully that will get rid of this error. It didn't. Let's take a look to see if I got anything else wrong. All right, I figured it out. I had the Apple Excel file open, and that's why it was giving me that error. So make sure you have all your files closed, and you'll never have that problem. Okay, so now we have the daily return and the cumulative return. So what I want to do is I want to merge all these stocks into one data frame by the column name. And to do that, of course, I'm going to create a function, and it's called merge data frame by column. If I can spell column right, column and name. And you're going to pass in the column name, and you're going to pass in the starting date that we had before, and the ending date, and also a list of all the ticker symbols you want to merge. I'm going to create a data frame. This is going to be a new data frame that's going to hold all the data from those data frames with the same column name. And I'm just going to say pandas dot and data frame. It is a data frame. That's all I'm doing is initializing it. And then I'm going to cycle through all of these stocks in tickers. So every stock that's in the tickers list. And then I'm going to say data frame and get stock data frame from CSV. And there that is right there. And then I'm going to say if not data frame dot index is unique, like this. And this just checks if your data frame has duplicated indexes or not. Not good. Duplicated dates is what the index is actually referring to. And in this situation, if not, I'm going to say lock, or I'll just say lock like this, location, and this is going to solve any of those issues with the duplicated dates and data for the said dates. Okay, and then after that, I'm going to create a mask so that I only get data between the starting date, defined starting date, and the defined ending date. So I'll say greater than or equal to the starting date, and I'll go data frame index, which is again the date, less than or equal to the ending date, like that. And then I will go and put this information inside of the multiple DF data frame. So I'm going to have all of that information in one place, and I'll say df dot location, apply the mask, which is only going to give us certain dates, and then the column name, which is going to end up being cumulative return. And it's going to give us just cumulative returns for all of our different stocks, and then we'll be able to do what we wanted to do, which was if we invested $1, what would that dollar be worth after 5 years in each of those stocks? So I'm going to say mult data frame and merge df by column name, and what I'll pass inside of it is cumulative return, like that, and I'll pass in my starting date, and also I will pass in the ending date and all of the tickers, every single one of them, and it'll throw them all in one data frame with cumulative return information. And if we do this, oh, it gave me an error. Why did it give me an error? Let's figure this out. Not sure. Run all, and everything comes back. Okay, so now we have cumulative returns for all of our individual securities. So now we can come in here and plot this. And we can just say figure is equal to px dot line and pass in mult data frame, and the x-axis is going to be equal to mult data frame dot index, and y is equal to mult data frame columns, like that. And then we're going to update our figure. I'm just going to come up here and copy this. And yeah, let's just update all of this stuff. I'm going to do everything basically the same. So let's come down here and let's just paste all of that in there to save time. And this is once again going to be date. I'm going to have range slider true, price, all of this stuff exactly the same. Let's run it. And you can see now we are seeing all of these stocks based off of if we invested $1 into them and where would we be today. And we would also be able to use this slider to come in here like that. Pretty awesome. And as a final trick here, let's say we would want to go and show volume data. Also very useful. So we're going to go figure and go dot figure like this. And, whoops, don't do that though. Let's get this back here. Go figure like this. And let's say we wanted to analyze Facebook a little bit more and get some volume data on it. So Netflix plot is going to be equal to, and go and scatter like that. And X is equal to Netflix data frame. Go and get the date. And also, the y-axis is going to be Netflix data frame, and we're just going to get our closing data, and we could do name is equal to and Netflix like that. And then I want to plot all the price changes, so just go figure, add trace, and we'll do Netflix and plot. And then I can put my volume data on there also by going figure, add trace, and if we want to use a bar chart, we'll go bar like that. X is equal to Netflix data frame and get our index, and Y is going to be our volume data, which is also stored with that data frame. And then I'm going to just shrink it down so that it displays on the chart. And I can try something like 2, and let's throw in like 5 zeros, something like that. See if that looks good or not. And then follow that up with name, which is going to be equal to the volume traded. So this is how easy it is to add volume bar charts also to our plots. And then we just update our figure once again. So let's just go grab all this stuff, copy, and come down here, paste it inside of there, and it's all going to be exactly the same. And if we run it, we should also see, whoop, I've typed fid. Where did I do that? Fid add trace, change this to figure add trace, and there you can see we are able to see our Netflix price data along with our volume data. And we can of course zoom in and look at everything in more detail. Alright, and if you don't want the volume that high, maybe you want to come in here and knock off a 0 or something like that, you can see the different, well actually worse. Yeah, so we could go in here and maybe we put 2 zeros in, boom, and now the volume is lower. Alright, So there you go, guys. That is a major jump into technical analysis with Python. And in the next video, I want to try to wrap up a lot of what we do just in 2 videos, and you'll have a really extreme understanding of technical analysis with Python and all these data science libraries. So like always, please leave your questions and comments down below. Otherwise, till next time.